It is rare for a senior royal, let alone the heir to the throne, to speak with raw candor about personal suffering. Yet Prince William has done just that, and in doing so he has given the public a glimpse into a storm that almost consumed him. Behind the gilded gates, beyond the polished smiles and carefully chosen words, William admitted what many suspected, that 2024 was not just another difficult year, but the hardest year of his entire life. The revelation did not come in a formal palace statement, or a carefully staged BBC interview. It came instead in conversation with an unlikely figure, Hollywood actor and comedian Eugene Levy. Known for his warmth and wit, Levy became the confidant to whom William unburdened himself in a forthcoming episode of Apple TV+, as The Reluctant Traveler. And what William said was as striking as it was heartfelt. "I'd say 2024 was the hardest year I've ever had. Life is sent to test us as well, and being able to overcome that is what makes us who we are." These words were simple, yet they rang like a tolling bell. For once, the heir to the throne was not projecting stoicism, or distancing himself behind ritual. He was speaking as a husband, as a son, and as a father who had been confronted with two devastating realities. His wife and his father, the two pillars of his private life, had both been diagnosed with cancer in the same year. The sequence of events still feels staggering. In February 2024, Buckingham Palace announced that King Charles III, at the age of 75, had been diagnosed with an unspecified form of cancer. The discovery came almost by chance, during what was expected to be a straightforward hospital procedure for a benign prostate enlargement. In March, scarcely a month later, Princess Catherine recorded and released a video that would break the nation's heart. Seated in a simple room, her face calm but solemn, she admitted she had undergone major surgery and that doctors had found cancer. "It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment," she explained. "But, most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte and Louis in a way that is appropriate for them, and to reassure them that I am going to be okay." Those words, crafted to comfort, only underscored the horror of what the family had been enduring privately. For William, the man who has stood beside Catherine since their university days, the prospect of losing her was unthinkable. Through the spring and summer, Catherine underwent chemotherapy. She disappeared from the public stage, her absence noted in every newspaper, every official engagement, every empty seat beside her husband. By September 2024, she declared she had completed treatment, and by January 2025, she revealed she was in remission. The relief was immense, but the ordeal had left scars that cannot be erased. The public saw a calm return, but William saw the nights of exhaustion, the tears of fear, and the relentless strain of explaining to three young children why their mother looked so tired, why she could not always be there. At the same time, William was watching his father battle his own illness. King Charles, who had only recently ascended the throne after decades as heir himself, was suddenly vulnerable. For William, this was a double shock. He was not only supporting his wife through treatment, but also facing the stark reality that his father's reign could be shorter than anticipated. Every official duty he undertook carried the shadow of succession, the knowledge that he might be required to step fully into the role of monarch sooner than anyone expected. Insiders later said William looked hollowed out during this period. He appeared in public, as duty demanded, but behind the scenes he was stretched thin. He had to be the strong parent at home, the steady son for his father, and the perfect Prince of Wales in the eyes of the nation. Those who saw him closely remarked on how heavily the burden weighed, even if he tried to hide it. His rare admission to Eugene Levy was a release, a small crack in the armor, acknowledging just how close the pressure came to breaking him. The choice of Levy as an interviewer was significant. Unlike political journalists, Levy is not associated with hard-hitting questions or adversarial challenges. He is approachable, human, and empathetic. By speaking with him, William ensured that the conversation would not turn into a cross-examination, but rather an exchange where honesty could emerge. It was a deliberate attempt to show the world that even the most polished royal life contains moments of deep vulnerability. And it worked. William's words have already shifted perceptions. For years, he has been seen as pragmatic, serious, sometimes even cold, the opposite of his brother Harry, who has always been willing to speak about feelings and trauma. But this moment reminded the public that William, too, carries wounds, and that he is not a man made of stone. The difference is that he reveals them sparingly, and when he does, the impact is enormous. Observers point out that his statement also redefined Catherine's role in the public eye. While she has always been admired for her grace and poise, the battle with cancer transformed her into a symbol of resilience. William's acknowledgement of how deeply her illness affected him elevates her even further, showing that she is not simply a supporting figure in his story, but the core of his strength. In revealing how hard it was, he also honored her fight, and by extension, made her victory over the disease a triumph for the entire family. The shadow of Charles's illness looms equally large. For William, his father's diagnosis underscored how fragile time is, and how quickly the mantle of kingship could fall upon his shoulders. It also redefined their relationship. Where once they were often described as distant, Charles's illness forced more frequent, more personal conversations. William's admission that 2024 tested him is also an acknowledgement that he had to confront his father's mortality, even as he prepared himself for the inevitability of one day taking the throne. And yet, William emerged from that year not only scarred, but stronger. The message he offered, that life tests us, and that overcoming those tests makes us who we are, is both personal philosophy and royal branding. It is the lesson of a man who endured the unendurable, and who knows that millions of ordinary families have endured the same. His vulnerability connects him with the public in a way no title ever could. But make no mistake, this was also strategic. The palace would not have allowed William to speak so openly without purpose. This moment was carefully chosen, carefully framed, and carefully released. It paints the Prince of Wales as a future king who understands pain, who has walked through fire, and who can therefore inspire others to endure their own trials. Critics may call it image management. Supporters will see it as humanity. Either way, it worked. The heir to the throne, so often perceived as remote, now feels closer. And Catherine's survival, Charles's ongoing treatment, and William's confession all intertwine into a narrative of a family that suffers, survives, and still stands ready to lead. For William, 2024 will forever be remembered as the year that nearly destroyed him. But it will also be remembered as the year that forged him, a year when he carried burdens that might have broken lesser men, and emerged determined to embody resilience for the nation he will one day rule.